Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I am Jeremy Birmingham. This is Birminology. Today, we are talking to Arion Carter, a four-star linebacker prospect out of Smyrna, Tennessee, who recently took an official visit to Ohio State. Arion is one of the last players that Ohio State has added to its big board in the class of 2023. And I think as you get to listen to him talk in this interview, you'll understand why. He's a really great kid with a bright future. So enough of me talking about it. Let's show you. This is Birminology on the podcast with Arion Carter. Welcome to Birminology on the podcast. It's Arion Carter. He's babysitting tonight. And so if this interview gets a little bit disrupted at time to time by his 1.5-year-old niece, we apologize. But that is the life of a responsible young man in America, helping out his family. Arion, thanks for taking time, man. How's it going?
Yes, sir. I'm doing great. How about you?
It's, we're staying busy up here, getting ready for what feels like one of the biggest games in recent history in Columbus, and trying to catch up with guys like yourself who were recently in town and had an opportunity to have your first visit to Columbus. If we can just start there, your recruitment, which we'll get into in a moment, it seems like it's obviously taken off kind of out of nowhere. To have the opportunity to get to Ohio State so quickly, why was it important for you to get there so fast? And what was it about this visit that really helped move the needle for Ohio State in your mind?
It was really just the relationships I built with Coach Knowles and Coach G over there. That was the biggest part of it. And then just also having the background of the Big Ten of being super competitive, not only on the field, but off the field in the classroom also. So that was a big plus as well. That was the main reason why.
When you get there, you obviously have high expectations. You know what Ohio State's reputation is one of the best 2 or 3 programs in the country on the field. And obviously, as you mentioned, the Big Ten is always focused on things off the field as well. Was there anything that caught you off guard or surprised you, or was like, wow, this is actually much different and or better than I thought it would be?
As far as everything being better than what I thought it would be, I kind of had a come on. I kind of had an idea of what it would be, but it's with being from down south, you hear that things may not be as big up north, or football might not be as emphasized as much up north. But that was a complete lie to me. When I came up there and seen it, it was just everything was just different. From the stadiums, the fans, and whenever we were in pregame, coming down in the middle of the field, and just the people telling me that it would be filled from tip to tip, I didn't believe it. But sure enough, first quarter came and it was all black and red and white, and it was amazing. It was amazing to me.
Do you think that is a miscalculation on people's part to try to tell you, a kid who, your dream is to be an orthopedic surgeon? It's not like all you care about is football. Is it a miscalculation to try to tell you, hey, football may not be as important up there? Because maybe you're certainly about more than just football, right?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm a student before an athlete, of course. You got to have the grades and everything that comes with the being an athlete and playing at a high level like that. So, I feel like people shouldn't just have that stereotype that football is not important up north, because with the success Ohio State's had and many other teams up north, that contradicts what they say.
One of the key factors, I guess, in getting to know a little bit Ohio State for you may be Dallin Hayden, who's a guy you knew in the Memphis area, who you got to be up there at Ohio State when he had a 20 carry, 100+ yard game, a couple touchdowns. What has Dallin been able to tell you about Ohio State, and what does it mean for you to see a kid from your neck of the woods who no one really thought would belong there, not just being up there playing, but playing meaningful minutes and heading into the final 2 weeks of the season is maybe the starting running back at Ohio State? How does that change the way you see the opportunity?
It changed the game completely for me. Seeing that a kid from around my area, and especially in my state, being able to come up north and make an impact that he has, and step in and give him the opportunities that he's had. Obviously, with all the work that he's put in the off season, and talking with him, and just speaking with him over this weekend, just letting him know that I have a real shot to make an impact and make history there. As far as everybody down that I may not go there, or if I go there, it won't be the same. All that changed whenever he talked to me, because everywhere, I go at this point, it's going to have great culture. And then me being down there and just seeing the whole stadium and seeing how much the fans love football up there, it emphasized and highlighted that was what highlighted the whole visit to me. And just seeing that seeing him get a couple touchdowns and having 120 yards and stepping in as a freshman, that was a big deal to me.
What has Dallin been able to help reveal to you about Ohio State? Obviously, you were offered by the Buckeyes. Now probably it's now going on about 7 weeks since they offered you. Right. What has he been able to help shed some light on that maybe you don't think you otherwise would have been able to learn?
Just really knowing that the coaches are real. The coaches aren't going to sit here and tell you lies and feed you the pitch everybody else is. They're going to tell you the real, and they're going to let you know what it is up front. And that's what I love about the coaches up there at Ohio State. And they're very transparent with everything, and just letting me know that when I come up there and I work and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I'll have a chance to contribute. Is what he was like letting me know, and what I seen with coming on that visit.
Social media is not real life, but it is something that people pay attention to. And I noticed, earlier this week, you posted your photos from your Ohio State official visit, and there were 15, 20 comments from current players, guys who were being recruited in the same class as you, Dallin. I mean, were you able to make that real of a connection with the guys on the current roster last weekend in that 48 hours?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dallin, CJ, Sonny, and then a couple of other players up there. Just being with the guys after the game, really getting to know them, and taking time to ask as many questions as I can with them as I can. And that was the biggest part for me, is getting to know the guys. What kind of culture and what kind of brotherhood that they have up there. And with that being shown to me, it really shows overall what it showed me what Ohio State is about, beyond the hype, beyond what critics may say. When you really see what's inside that locker room and the guys around it and the family that you'll have, it means a lot, especially with the guys, especially in the game when Cam Babb, after having 4 ACL surgeries, coming back, and Coach Day believing in him and, being behind him up to this point, it really means a lot to me. Just seeing that, that speaks volumes for itself.
That is one of the more unique stories that I've ever covered at Ohio State. Your own story is somewhat fascinating. I mean, here you are 3 months ago, Arion, like you were a guy that you're committed to Memphis, a good program in its own right. It's not meant to knock anybody. Matt Barnes is one of my favorite guys that I've got to know in this process, a former Ohio State assistant coach. Mm-hmm. You now are looking at having to make a decision between Alabama, Ohio State, Tennessee, LSU, Auburn, Michigan. Like, have you been able to take a minute to just absorb the changes that have happened in your life in the last 3 months? And I guess ultimately the question is, what is the biggest difference in your real life now because of those opportunities?
The difference is, I say a lot has changed as far as the status and the exposure, but me as a person, nothing's changed. I'm still that same kid from 3 months ago, that didn't have the opportunities that I have now. And it's just so happened I've gotten the exposure, had a blessed season, to go out and have a great season and do what God gave me, to the best of my ability. So up to this point, it's changed the way I look at life and the way things can change in the blink of an eye. And I thank God for it, because I'm blessed for it every day. So I wouldn't take anything back up to this point. I thank God every day. I thank my family and thank my teammates and coaches for believing me. So to answer your question, like, yeah, I sit back and I think about this every day, just but it all came so fast and it can all be taken away in a blink and eye. So, thank the man above every day for what I've gotten up to this point, and glorify him while working and doing the little things right every day.
You and I, we first had our first conversation actually back in June 3rd. I remember the day. I was at a camp at the University of Toledo where
Yes, sir.
I walked onto the field there, was taking some pictures, and I noticed, you there, and I'm like, man, this kid looks like the real deal. So you were like the only kid I took any photographs of the whole day. And I've made sure to reach out to you on Twitter later that night, say, hey, you did a great job today. I don't know anything about you, but you seem like someone who we should be paying attention to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When you have to make that adjustment in life, I mean, have you had to, aside from getting a lot more phone calls and text messages, I assume, than ever before, like, what else have you had to adjust it just in your personal life to make sure that you don't allow yourself to lose sight of the real blessing in all this?
Really, I know the way I've been raised and the way my parents brought me up, I really, know not to take anything for granted. You can't, life's too short to take anything for granted. So I know, throughout this whole process, I like me as a person, I'm never going to be the type to, be boastful or, obnoxious about anything. Cause I know, a lot of people look up to me, and I know for a fact that there's a lot of kids outside right now in the world that are just like me 3 months ago that don't have the exposure or light to them, to their name, but they're working like I have been, and they're looking up to me and seeing my story as a way of light, that could be me someday. So I think about that every day, and that runs through my head and my mind. So I know every day work for everything that you've gotten up to this point and keep working so you can continue to get the blessings that you have gotten. So that's the mindset I've had up to this point.
I mean, it has to just be insane to go from what you were trying to just work for 4 or 5 months ago to now spending your evenings talking to Nick Saban and Ryan Day and Josh Heupel. It's got to be pretty insane.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Arion, for you, obviously there are expectations that you'll still be at Alabama for an official visit in December and Tennessee. You have a couple weeks off now, I think, where you don't have anything concretely planned.
Mm-hmm.
How do you break down these opportunities? How do you decide what's most important, and how do you from here, really start to categorize or pros and cons? I mean, what do you do to say, I need to make a decision in the next 6 weeks? So how do you break it down? What becomes most important?
Come here. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. Family's most important. So
yes, sir. I'm sorry. Here she go.
She's having a good time.
Yes, sir. She bad. Yeah, I love it to death. But as far as the main decision and the contributing factors, obviously academics, will I be able to continue my career, and make resources from the college I go to, and then the football aspect, do they have great football? All the colleges that I'm looking at right now and that are considering me have great football, so that's not a problem. The biggest thing for me is will I be able to come to a team and make a contribution, and will I be come here. I'm sorry. Will I be not looked at as
just a guy?
Yes, sir. Just a guy. Will I be able to come and will I be able to come and make a difference? First and foremost. And then am I looked at as family? Will I be treated like family? Will I be able to come into a system that can develop me as an athlete and as a young man in this world, beyond football? And then the biggest thing is the culture also. Will I be coming into a not just a winning culture, but a culture that I can thrive in, because I have to go somewhere that fits best for me, whether that be Ohio State, Tennessee, Alabama, Michigan, Auburn, anywhere like that. But um those are the big contributing factors for me.
You play running back at Smyrna High School. You're obviously being recruited, I think, by everyone at this point as a linebacker prospect. But
Yes,
when
sir.
you look at Ohio State, and this is one question I wanted to ask, like obviously Chip Trainum, a running back there in the running back room with Dallin Hayden, was playing linebacker for Ohio State earlier this year. Steele Chambers played running back for Ohio State 2 years ago and is now on the verge of being an all Big Ten level, linebacker with an NFL future. Do you
Right.
get a chance to talk to those guys during your official visit and say, how did you get here? And has that been part of the interest in Ohio State, knowing that, hey, they've actually already done this with someone?
Yeah. So you're asking me like, have I been able to ask the guys like how um the running back background has helped them and
Yeah, I
like
mean, and what did Ohio State do to help prepare them or elevate them when they made that switch? Because obviously you're going to be going into it somewhat cold.
yes, sir. The biggest thing, so I talked with CJ Hicks and he has a background. Me and him connected throughout the visit. Great guy. He's played running back and linebacker in high school. And talking with Steele too. They just said it made things kind of a smooth transition because you're able to move with these guys and run with these guys. And you have the mindset of what he's thinking. He wants to cut back this way or he wants to hit the gap this way. You're able to fill the gaps where they want to go because you have that mindset. And like Tommy, I don't know if he had a background at running back in high school or not, but he told me working with Coach Knowles, it just elevated his game to a whole nother level. And if I went there, it would with us two together, as a coach and player, it could be something special.
I don't.
As long as
I feel like I could talk to you for a while here. I really enjoy the
yes, sir.
conversation, but I did tell you I was going to try to keep it under 15 minutes. So let me
Yes,
ask you
sir.
this last question, and then I'll try to let you get out of here. You didn't know Jim Knowles 2 months ago.
No, sir.
You know him now. What is it about him as a coach and as a man that you think makes him a guy people want to play for?
Really just the way he attacks the aspect of being a DC and linebacker coach. He's the type of guy to be about his players. He wants to put his guys in the best position possible to go out and win every single rep on defense, which is what I love. And he's gonna put you in certain situations and let you see the game through his eyes as a coach, that you wouldn't have seen before. And his players, my fault, and his players, give me that. And then his players also see it also, because they see, like Tommy, for example, last year to this year, it's a big jump as far as his game. As far as him, he's looking at, I think, will be a top pick in the NFL draft this year, compared to last year where he has some things that he need to work on. Coach Knowles has sharpened and elevated his game. So as far as that, he knows how to develop players.
Yeah, I could be biased because I'm fortunate enough to be on the field for every Ohio State game.
Yes, sir.
There's no linebacker in the country playing better than Tommy Eichenberg right now, and anyone who says that there is hasn't watched him play. So but that's neither here nor there. That's for a different show. But Arion, with a week, 2 weeks now, I think until you make your next official visit, is there any chance for Ohio State fans out there watching and listening to this that you're going to try to make it back to Columbus for the game against Michigan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would love to get back to Michigan, up to Michigan. I just need to talk with my mom and my dad and see how how the traveling would go. But I most definitely would like to get back up there.
Yeah, that game is going to be a special one. There's going to be a lot of big time recruits from around the country coming in. You would fit right in. And I really appreciate you taking time. Like I said, I know you're busy there with watching your niece, and it's been a great opportunity to catch up with you, and really look forward to seeing what happens from here on out. Do you have a date? Are you thinking like signing day, or are you thinking whenever you know, you know? I mean, how do you feel like this ends for you?
I feel like this is just off. This is before I took any visits.
Sure.
My whole mindset was if I go on campus and it just seems right, and I have a feel that this is home to me, and I could see myself living here, including the game of football and outside the game of football. Um, that would be the determining factor. You know, a lot of people say when you go to a certain place and you visit and you step on campus, you feel like it's home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of that. And then, you know, that was the biggest thing. And like I said, those key factors will play a role, of course. Bless you. And then that was the biggest thing for me. Will it feel like home? And then the key contributing factors of will I be able to play? What's the academics like? And what's the culture like that I will fit in, that I will be able to thrive in? Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Lot of stuff to consider.
Yes, sir.
Huge change in your life over the last few months. Congratulations. You've earned it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We look forward to continuing to follow you with rivals.com and over with the podcast where we do this podcast, Birminology. That's Arion Carter. I'm Jeremy Birmingham. Thanks for watching, everyone. We will catch you next time.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.